just give us just a minute or two here and we'll get started. Are there people on there? Okay. Well, let's see. So it's 2 o'clock. We'll get started. Okay, again, this is Jane Kelly, founder of On the... Sorry, my phone rang. And you're going to have to bear with me. I've never done one of these live streams before, and I'm usually in front of a live audience. So I feel like I'm kind of like performing in front of the mirror when I was in 6th grade, like with a brush. Anyway, so what is a raptor? Can you define what a raptor is? What do we got out there? Does anybody? I see somebody said it's a bird. What kind of bird? A bird of prey. What does bird of prey mean? Yes, to hunt. And how do they hunt? With their feet, their talons, and their beak, right? Yeah, so today we're going to touch on our newest ambassador. His name is Arlo, and he is a barn owlet. He's not quite a baby anymore. He's getting in that teenage stage where he's being a little defiant, and he's exploring. He doesn't like boundaries, just like we don't like boundaries with this virus. We don't like to be contained. He doesn't like to be contained. So I will get him out, and then we can talk about what some of the characteristics of owls and what helps them hunt. And just a sec, let me get him. Open the door here. Come on, Arlo. Come on, buddy. Come on. Do you want to come out? So Arlo was born in captivity, and has anybody read the book or had the story, the Jungle Book read to them? And do you remember what that little boy's name was? Okay, I always mix up his name. Mowgli? Mowgli was imprinted on the animals in the jungle. And does anyone know what imprint means? So it's a stage of development when one species identifies itself with another species. And Mowgli, is that his name? He identified himself with the animals in the jungle. And we've got Guthrie, who was born in captivity, and he's imprinted on humans. So he identifies himself with humans. He doesn't see himself as a bird. Come on, let's come on out. Come on. Everyone wants to meet you. Come on. Everyone wants to meet you. Oh, wow. Come on. Okay, that way. Come on. All right. Come here. Come on. So you can see that Arlo's feathers are starting to come in, and he's losing a lot of his down feathers. I know, hold on. There you go. Just going to move them off of these props here. There you go. And if you look at Arlo's face, you'll notice that his eyes are directly in front. And look at where our eyes are. Look at your siblings' eyes and see where their eyes are, and your parents' eyes. They're in front. Eyes in front like to hunt. Eyes on the side like to hide. And raptors hunt prey. Eyes on the side like to hide. That's a prey. That's an animal that is considered prey. You look at squirrels outside. You look at songbirds. Their eyes are on the side. You look at your dog or your cat. Where are their eyes? They're in front. So can you look at these guys? Did you see that stomp? That's a defiant stomp. That means he's annoyed. And if you look at him, you'll see his head bobbing back and forth. He'll bring it in, he'll extend it, he'll move it up and down. He even can move it like a praying mantis, like he'll dial it. And their head can bend all the way back and touch the back of their spine. And what they're doing is they're adjusting their eyes like binoculars, and they're focusing. So he's moving his head back and forth to adjust the vision. And they have the ability to see monocularly, which means using one eye at a time. They can look at two different objects at the same time, or binocularly, like our vision, where their eyes, the vision field crosses in the middle and they have a focal point. Hey, can you turn around, please? No? A lot of people have been asking me, what is on Arlo's legs? He's got a band, the little yellow band right there, and then these black leather pieces are called anklets, and eventually next week we'll have Jess's in those, and that can be connected to a leash so that when we use them on a glove for training out in the public, he is attached to our glove, and then he's safe, the public's safe, and I'm safe. And they don't hurt him. They're loose, they're fitted, custom fit for him. We make them right here on the wing. Yeah. Can you turn around, please? Can you turn around? So, something that's really interesting about birds of prey and other birds that eat insects, in an 8 to 12 hour period of time, they cough up what is called pellets. They cast a pellet. Do you know what a pellet consists of? Yes. Bones, fur, feathers. They might have antennas, legs of insects, wings. There's all sorts of information in a pellet. And you can also tell by the size of a pellet what bird each of the pellets came from. So we've got, small, a little bit bigger, medium, and large. And what would you guess that this large one came from? Bingo, a great horned owl. And this one? Right on, barred owl. And this one? This size would come from Arlo, barn owl. And this also came from Arlo. And they even come even smaller, which would come from a sawwood or a screech owl. I'm going to show you, when you're looking at an owl, their eyes are locked in sockets, these tubular sockets. And the eyeball doesn't have the ability to roll. So it locks the eye in place. And an adaptation for an owl is they have double the amount of vertebrae in their cervical spine that we do. Can you say cervical? So cervical is our neck. And in the human neck, we have 7 vertebrae. Can you say 7 vertebrae? Now, if an owl has double the amount of vertebrae that a human has, how many vertebrae is that? Who got that right? 14. 14 vertebrae. That gives them the ability to move their head 270, 280 degrees in each direction. So to us, it looks like they're turning their head all the way around. But what would happen if we turned our head all the way around? It wouldn't work, would it? We might fall off. We'd lose circulation to our head. But fortunately, birds are set up where they have that flexibility. Can you come here a second? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. There you go. Come on. So you can see that Arlo's little downy feathers, he's losing all this down daily. It almost looks like a seeded dandelion. And you see how he walks? And his feathers are growing in. He's taking short flights right now. Maybe he'll do a little stretch for you. What's interesting is if you watch him, he's moving his head around and he's looking, figure out where he's going to go next. See, he's checking out something on the floor. Can you please go back this way? Right. you look at his feet, I'm going to pick him up and bring him to the camera so you can see his feet. What's really cool, look at his feet. Look at the detail. You can see how he is related to a reptile. I know. There you go. I know. There you go. There you go. There you go. Good boy. I'm hoping he'll take a little short flight for you. Maybe jump up on that hutch there behind Ivy. Show you how he's flying. Doing little jump flights. Come on, Arlo. Come on. Hey. Come on. Does anybody know what makes owls silent flyers? So they have a velvet coating all over their whole body. Every single feather is coated. There you go. And the leading edge of their feathers, so here's a wing that you can see. And just imagine if you were to touch it, it feels like velvet. It's got a velvet coating, and then the leading edge has a serrated edge, which when sound comes up and over an owl, the velvet coating muffles the sound, and then as it comes to the end of the owl's feathers, the sound is pulled apart with the serrated edge. Can you see that? And another fascinating fact about owls is not only do they have amazing eyesight, but their ears play a very important role. Some species have the ability to hear the heartbeat of a mammal 3 feet under cover, 3 feet under snow, and they know which direction that mammal is going. They're also very similar to us in terms of being right or left. We're right or left-handed, dominant. They are right or left-footed. So when we're flying birds, you can see that they lead with their right foot or they lead with their left foot. Just like when I'm parking a car in a parking lot, I love to turn to the left. It's easier for me to park my car to the left than it is to the right. Birds approach prey the same way. It's just like the same. We're very, very similar. It's pretty cool to see. Come here, what are you doing? Nice. Come on. Come on. Someone from the road said hello. Come on, can you get down? Come here. Ivy, can you see any questions that people are asking?
Are any of your birds left-footed?
Are any of them left-footed? That's a great question. I flew a hawk 2 years ago that was left-footed. He always led with his left foot, and I'll see if I can find a picture of him coming in to the lure and post it. I have lots of pictures, but I'll try and find it. That's a good question.
That was the only question. They're all like comments saying like, oh, he's so cute.
He is really cute. And I wish that he would face you right now. Come here, Arlo. Arlo. Let me see if I can entice him. Arlo. 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 What? Arlo. One thing to look at, Arlo, when he looks at you, check out the heart shape of his face, his facial disc, and you'll notice that his right side of the heart is higher. It almost looks like he's raising his eyebrow, like, what are you talking about? And owls have asymmetrical ears, but what I've found with non-tufted owls, meaning they don't have what we call like a long-eared owl or a short-eared owl, great horned owls have tufts. The non-tufted owls, their ears are more dramatically asymmetrical. And in all owls, one ear faces upward and the other one faces downward, so they can capture sound from above and below. But with non-tufted owls, he's going to try to go to that curtain rod, I think. Maybe not. non-tufted are more dramatic, and the tufted owls are a little bit more, they look symmetrical to the human eye. However, if you were to measure it, you can see that they are asymmetrical. Okay, he's going to go to the lamp. Sorry. Can you step up, please? Step up. Good boy. There you go. Good boy. There you go. Let's see if we can get a close-up of Arlo. So his eyes almost look like they're black, but they're actually a very, very dark brown. Did you hear that little radio station sound? Hi, Arlo. Hello.
Someone asked, can you show us the ears?
Yeah, let me see if he'll, I don't know if he'll let me. Hi, Arlo. There you go. Can we show your ears, please? Here. Sorry, hang on here. Ivy, you're gonna have to come over here. Oh, he keeps moving his head. I'm so sorry. There you go. Did you see that?
No.
Okay. Hold on. Can I just show your ear? You see? There's too many feathers. I'm gonna have to work on that, sorry. Come here. Step down.
Other people are asking how old is he?
He is 7 weeks old. This is his 8th week. Oh my god, this is terrible. He's not supposed to be on my head, sorry. So this is his 8th week. There you go, it's okay. And he'll be flying in 2 more weeks. I'm going to see if I can show you his ear really quick one more time here. Oh. Here you go, I've hurry up. Oh. No. No, sorry guys. Step up. Do you have any other questions?
Male and female visual features to tell them apart.
Okay, so that's called sexual dimorphism, and that's an area that is still up in the air. Researchers have said that you can't see sexual dimorphism in most raptors. They look alike to the human eye. However, all birds have encrypted patterns, colors, textures that we don't see, and they see in ultraviolet light. So that ability to see in ultraviolet light decodes that encryption on the birds, and they actually do have sexual dimorphism markings. It's just you need like a black light or a negative reverse image, and it does show that there is a pattern. But to the human eye, it's hard to detect. Hope I answered that question okay.
Does he play?
Does he play? Not really. They're typically solitary animals until mating season and raising their young, and then they really do their own thing. Kind of almost similar to a cat. They're social when they want to be. They're not cuddly like you see on the internet or, like a dog or a cat. You don't have that same kind of connection. Are there any other questions?
When will you start wearing a glove with him?
I should have brought a glove up here today, and I was irresponsible by not bringing a glove up. So we wear a glove with him every day. Any other?
Barn owls mate for life.
Do barn owls mate for life? Most raptors do mate for life. One cool fact about barn owls is one barn owl will eat about 1,000 rodents a year. And so if you have a nesting pair with an average clutch, they usually have 5 to 7. So let's just say 5. And then you add the 2 parents. That's 7. So that's 7,000 rodents that they're helping control in that area of their territory. And, that's important because we don't want to use rodenticides. These guys unfortunately suffer from secondary rodenticides, which is far worse than primary. And not to forget that even if that rodent dies of primary rodenticides, that animal is deteriorating and penetrating our soil and our waterway. So no to poison if you can do it. Use snap traps. There's other ways. There's electric traps. There's other ways of controlling rodents.
Does he fly on a leash?
Does he fly on a leash? Right now he is just free flying short flights in the house, and next week he'll go out to an enclosure. But we're training for free flying him, so he will free fly with Jess's on, of course, his hardware, and we'll lure train him.
How does he see at night?
How does he see at night? That's a great question. So owls let in 10 times more light than the human eye. So I kind of picture it almost like those game camera pictures at night. You know how they kind of glow? That's what I picture their eyes, what they see at night.
How big is their territory?
Oh, that depends on the species, and they can cross over with other species. So just on my property alone, I abut conservation land, and I can hear wild barred owls and great horned owls. And so I would have to look that up. I'll get back to you. But they do share territory, which can be troublesome for a barred owl, because a great horned owl will prey on a barred owl.
Why do people call barred owls barn owls?
Well, I think it's because of maybe like my accent, for instance. If I said barred owl, someone might hear barn owl. I think it's just the pronunciation or enunciation of the N or the D or R-E-D.
Will they expand their range to our region with changing climate?
Where is your region? Are you in New England? So if you're in New England, I don't know, it must have been 8 years ago, there was a rare bird alert. Rhode Island had a barn owl. It was a beautiful female, and she spent a couple weeks down there hunting. And I went down there to see her. I hiked this trail and found her. She was eating a big vole. If you look at their feet, when we looked at his feet earlier, you notice that he doesn't have feathers on his toes. All of our birds in our area have feathers all the way down to the top of their talon, and that is an adaptation to protect them when they're, hunting through snow and the conditions that we have in our area. So these guys really aren't equipped for snow, but never say never. You don't know. We're starting to get black vultures up here. We hadn't had black vultures up here for years, just like New England never had possum up here, and now we have possum. So things are forced to move and migrate and establish new territories.
What are his defense mechanisms?
His defense mechanism. So owls tend to be biters. They're not as footy as a hawk. So even though their feet, his feet are weapons, obviously. A barn owl hitting its prey is equivalent to a 1-ton truck hitting a 170-pound man on a highway. So the force of their feet is a weapon, and also used for defense, for grabbing. But these guys tend to bite more. And I don't know how many pounds per square inch a barn owl
can, crush. I do know a great horned owl can crush 500 pounds per square inch. I'd have to look that up. But their beak and their feet are their defense weapons.
I think that's all the questions. One of the questions is, does he get along with Guthrie?
Unfortunately, Guthrie is no longer with us, and so Arlo is on his own. And yeah, that's it. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll be here tomorrow at 2:00. I think maybe we'll talk about our Merlin. Or if you guys want to give suggestions, we can talk about Etzel. We can talk about another owl. Why don't you guys leave me suggestions on which bird you'd like to, learn about tomorrow, and we'll tune in with that bird based on majority, obviously. So stay inside, be safe, stay isolated. All right? Take care.